everyone. All the schools and voters scored a major victory a week ago Thursday when the state Supreme Court ruled that lawmakers must pay for inflation funding for the K-12 school system as mandated in a 2000 ballot initiative approved by voters. The court said the inflation adjustments in Proposition 301 from the year 2000 can't be undercut by legislative action. Justices said because the legislature didn't include full inflation funding for schools' base formula for the fiscal year 2011 budget, it ran afoul of the Voter Protection Act and its limits on changes to laws approved by voters. The legislature failed to fully fund inflation in fiscal year 2012 and fiscal year 2013. And the foregone funding amounts add up to at least $250 million. Some put it closer to $300 million. The ruling upholds a January decision of the Court of Appeals that underscores the authority of the Voter Protection Act. One might think the unanimous opinion should translate into better funding for schools, but it won't cover the costs of programs recently created by the legislature. Don Peters, who represents our governing board, said this is not an increase in education and funding. It just keeps funding from eroding. Our advocates are now discussing whether to try to recoup some of the money when the case is returned to the lower court where it started. The Executive Director of Arizona School Boards Association, Tim Ogle, said, when you get a unanimous court decision in the Court of Appeals followed by a unanimous decision in the state Supreme Court, I think the message is pretty clear. The legislature has a responsibility to fulfill the wishes of the voters. Lawmakers failed to account for the compounding effect of 3 years of lost funding, plus all of the capital authority that had been lost over the last 6 years. Estimates from earlier this month showed the state could finish the current budget with nearly a $900 million surplus of cash, not including $450 in the rainy day fund. According to House Minority Leader Chad Campbell, the reason we have excess money is that we are not investing in things that actually will turn around our economy. He went on to say that putting that money into schools could make Arizona more attractive to business, which has long said it needs a well-educated workforce. Also, the Arizona Department of Education has decided to allow extra time for the new online park assessment after receiving complaints about the timing of the assessment. The test is designed to align the new Common Core standards, but the timing of the test conflicted with the Ames test. The test has two components, a performance-based assessment and an end-of-year test. Nearly 4 out of 5 schools statewide are expected to participate, with all of our schools selected to participate in one test or the other. The time extension applies to the performance-based tests, which now can be administered through April 25th, giving a couple weeks after Ames. And the end-of-the-year test will have until June 6th, which is great for us because we're still in session in June. The district's technology staff and integration specialist, Kelly Stewart, met with teachers to kick off the first one-to-one computer initiative with third-grade teachers at the end of last month. And currently we have 242 students enrolled in the 10 classrooms participating in the district's newest phase of implementing one-to-one student-to-devices instructional model. 8 teachers are in the first cadre, and the one-to-one cadre includes 7 iTeach student teachers who are helping out with getting some of the great technology experience. We also have 1 teacher participating in 5th grade at Country Place using different devices and piloting the flipped classroom model. Parents meeting have been positive, and we're rolling out devices to students now. We definitely have a lot of excited teachers and kids. This phase is a huge undertaking, and our IT team has done a great job of making it happen. As most of you know, parent conferences are happening this week, so we recently had new teacher induction training that focused on how to prepare for parent conferences, the type of records to have ready, considerations for questions parents might ask, and how to create good working relationships with families. Lots of tips were shared to help teachers feel more at ease working with parents and discussing academic progress of students, and the feedback was really positive, so we're looking forward to reports on how conference week went for our next meeting. A basketball season will be coming to an end with the championship game tonight at La Jolla High School. Girls championship game is Collier versus Quinton, and the boys championship game is Collier versus Tres Rios. Collier always seems to show up in basketball, don't they? First annual 8th grade all-star basketball game was played on October 5th at La Jolla High School, with the West Division girls and the East Division boys winning. A lot of support showed up for the kids, cheered on the all-stars. Flag football and girls volleyball kick off our winter season next. In closing, I'd like to express a special thanks to California Community Foundation for the donation of funds to Littleton Elementary, to Grads Photography for their donation of funds to Collier and Tres Rios Elementaries. I'd also like to remind people there's currently a board seat open to be filled starting in 2014, and we encourage any interested citizens to contact the board secretary at 623-478-5611 or email Patty Young. And that's all I have this evening.